What's up, everybody? Cigar Shopper Laird Mayhew back with another cigar review, and today I've got the Southern Draw Firethorn and Robusto. Stay tuned.
I can smoke stogies in my house. First of all, because her father introduced me to stogies, and second of all, because I'm a stud. I'm ballsy. I don't take no shit from anyone. I smoke my stogie anywhere I want. I don't have to find a hideout place like you.
All right. Welcome back to another installment here at Cigar Sherpa. I, of course, am your host, Laird Mayhew, and as always, if this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to the channel. If it's not your first time here, welcome back. It's always good to see you. All right, so as my intro said, today I've got the Firethorn by Southern Draw. Now, I think I have reviewed the Southern Draw Rosa Sharon. I did the Jacob's Ladder, and I did the... Did I do the Cedrus? I think I did. It's probably in my notebook here. Anyway, I have not smoked a cigar from Southern Draw that I did not like. Okay, and I've been excited. I'm excited to try this one. I've heard a lot about it. Every time I buy a Southern Draw, whoever sells it to me, we get into a conversation about it. And they always ask me if I tried the Firethorn. No, I did Southern Draw. Let me bounce around. Finally grabbed one, and it's the Robusto size, which is 5.5 by 54, and it is beautiful. And as I delved into the cigar, looking up the genetic makeup of it, like, if I would have done it sooner, I would have smoked this cigar sooner. I mean, it's got a Ecuador Habano-Rosado wrapper, which is fabulous, and it's double fermented. Okay, what does double fermented mean? I don't know, aged longer. But the Ecuador Habano-Rosado wrapper is the same wrapper that you're going to find on the My Father La Antiquidad, which is one of my favorite cigars. I keep them in my humidor. Matter of fact, I smoked one yesterday. And also on the Last Call by AJ Fernandez, which is like my favorite cigar if I had to pick one. Other than the one I smoked today, I did smoke me a Cohiba Talisman today, and let me tell you something. You can call those things overpriced. Yes, they're overpriced. You can call them overrated all you want. But that Cohiba Talisman is like aged, 3 years before they put it out? So it's one of the Cuban cigars that you really don't have to age. And it was beautiful. I enjoyed every second of it, and I hated to throw it away. Back to this thing. So we've got the Ecuador Habano-Rosado double fermented wrapper. Very exciting there. Mexican San Andreas binder. Mexican San Andreas wrapper is one of my favorite wrappers. So now I got two of my favorite leaves to tobacco strains, whatever you want to call it. And it's got Nicaraguan filler. I didn't really get too much into it. I know that Southern Draw gets their cigars made down in Esteli by AJ Fernandez. And if he has anything to do with it, I'm sure he does. He does a lot. He does a lot. And the majority of what he does is really good. I haven't had all of his stuff. He makes a lot of the catalog stuff, like the Ave Maria. I think I've had one of those. The Diesel, it was good. I don't remember the notes or anything. I smoked it when I was out in Vegas. But anyway, the construction on this bad boy is beautiful. It looks like it's got a large, double cap. It might be triple. No, I think it's a double cap, but it's large. I don't know if you can see that as I twisted there. The seams are very tight. They're like invisible seams, but when you flip it over here, I can see the seams. I'm gonna say tight, visible seams. And that Habano-Rosado wrapper is it's supposed to have a red hue to it. This is kind of a lighter version of it. In the sun, a lot of times I found, like even on that La Antiquidad by the My Father series, it's got that Rosado Obscuro wrapper, but when you hold it in the sun, it does turn like a dark red. So anyway, it's got a closed foot, which I absolutely love, especially on this wrapper, because first, when you light it up, that first puff is just going to be wrapper, and you're going to get that sweet spiciness that the Rosado Ecuador wrapper has. So I'm going to use my punch. And again, if you ever want to borrow my punch, just know that you're going to have some cross-germentation, because I like to wet it just a little bit, just so I don't end up cracking it down the sides. Now, if you're using a community cutter or you're borrowing someone's cutter, it's a good idea not to lick your cigar and put your germs all over their cigar. So it gives that perfect, I'm not perfectly centered, but oh wow. And I hardly ever do the pre-draw on my cigar reviews. I know a lot of people do. It's got a very earthy cocoa You know what? It's got like a coffee flavor. It reminds me of that. I don't even know if they still make it because I haven't seen it in my adult life. But the Swiss Miss coffee, the powdered coffee. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and light this thing up and come back and tell you what I think about it from there. Stay tuned. All right. Because it's got that closed foot on there, I'm not even going to toast it. I'm just going to light it and kind of let it catch up. And just experience that wrapper. And whoa, on the retrohale. Good pepper. Not really a black pepper, but good pepper on the retrohale. Let me even that up. Sometimes I just screw up these lights and I scorch the wrapper a little bit, but that's okay. All right. I'm going to tell you what. The first initial impression I'm getting is just like I got on the cold draw. And that's kind of rare for me because normally I'll cold draw and I'll taste a little bit of like cocoa, chocolate, and sweet dried fruit, and I'll get excited. And then when I light it up, it's just kind of muted. But this is you know what? It tastes like very good aged tobacco right off the bat. It's got like I tell you what, it's got a very Cuban-esque flavor to it. Very. I mean, I just smoked one about maybe 5 hours ago. It's got that musty flavor that Cuban cigars are. That you, if you smoke Cuban cigars, you know what I'm talking about. It's got like almost like a damp hay, grassy hay, and like a musty undertone or overtone, and that's what this tastes like. So I'm getting that damp, musty earth. It's got a good sweetness there. It's like a cedar. So I got sweet cedar, musty earth, black pepper on the retrohale. And that's about it. And I'm going to tell you what. I really enjoyed that Cohiba Talisman that I smoked earlier. But this thing here with that sweetness is actually better. And about the same size too. 5.5 by 54. About the same size cigar. All right. I'm going to let this thing develop and come back further in the first third and tell you what I think about it from there. Stay tuned. All right. We are in the first third. We're well into the first third. We're about 13 minutes into it, and this thing is just burning beautiful. Nice, tight, white ash. It's burning damn near razor sharp. I mean, I haven't really got one to burn razor sharp like you used to look for back in the early 2000s, the late 90s. But maybe it's just because I'm smoking them too fast nowadays. If I really like the flavors, I smoke it, and that's what people tell me, like, oh, take one puff every minute and a half. And I'm like, that shit's for the birds, man. If I like the flavor, I'm gonna keep smoking it. But good cigar, okay? The flavors have developed just a little bit. They're still getting that musty earth. That musty, earthy, like Cuban-esque flavor that I associate with Cuban cigars. That it's kind of a sweet, like a sweet hay and that musty earth. Okay, that's what I'm getting the most of. There are tones there of like a sweet cedar, and probably from the wrapper and that Mexican San Andreas binder. That's why the sweetness is. But it's not overpowering. It's very understated, and it's perfect. It's very peppery. Okay. Very good pepper on the retrohale. It's not a very, very strong black pepper, but it's a nice burn, okay? And it leaves your mouth tingling in the back of it's getting me in the back of the throat. It causes me to have hiccups sometimes when I'm really enjoying a cigar. That's about it so far. And I mean, what else do you need on that? You know, any more flavors, on there? But what I've said is just really good. So I'm gonna go ahead and ash it because I find I like to let the ash get long, but I have waited in, like 2.5 inch ashes. But as soon as I ash it, it kind of, more oxygen gets there and I get more flavor. So I let them get about an inch, and then I'll go ahead and just tap them off. Unless they don't want to come off. If they don't want to come off, I'm going to leave it alone. But, yeah, so, on the Facebook page there, I think I was at International Cigar Smokers. And there was I guess a guy was on another cigar forum or another cigar review page, and he got booted off for having a difference of opinion. So that was a pretty long thread. And so I followed it. And I don't know the person personally that he was referring to, but I can tell you right now, on a Cigar Sherpa channel, you unless you get stupid, like start talking about someone's mom, I ain't never gonna boot nobody. I don't care if you think my flavor notes are whack or so far off, and you think I'm full of shit. That's fine. That's fine. And what I was explaining to one of the people on there, the comment was, cigar reviewers, they're just shills because they get free cigars, and they just, whatever company sends them free shit, they're just going to pump. And let me just tell you this, and I have gotten this from people in questions or comments, that I don't bash any cigars. Okay, I don't get it. I don't think I've got her. I've got some unfavorable reviews on there. I think if I remember, the Particulares was one, and there was another. I just wasn't a big fan of them, but I didn't bash them because they just weren't. Well, that got sweeter. I tipped that ash off, and now the flavors are more. I'm getting like a nice toasted nuttiness in there now, like a roasted nut. Anyway, so on that, the reason is, because I'm not sponsored. I don't get paid for this. I don't even think that if I got millions of views, YouTube would even monetize this channel because it's tobacco based. And I don't do it for that. Okay, I've explained that before. I do it because I just really love cigars, and this is just more of an extension of the cigar passion. Reviewing it and giving you my opinion on it. And then, I've got some friends on here that I've never even met face to face, but we talk all the time about cigars. So I go to the humidor, and I'm not going to spend money on a cigar that I think I'm not going to like. And how do I know I'm not going to like it? Well, if it's a Connecticut shade, a Dominican binder, if I just know it's not going to appeal to me, I'm probably going to pass on it, and I'm going to spend that $8 on something like this that I think I'm going to like. So there you go. So if I get a cigar, someone sends me, you want me to review a cigar, I'm just going to give you my honest opinion, because what do I give a shit? Nobody's paying me, I'm not sponsored, they can't sue me. You know what I'm saying? So I can say what I want about the cigar, but I am not going to purchase a cigar for $10, $12 that I think I'm not going to like just so I can get on here and appease people and bash a cigar. Make sense? So there you go. Hit me up. Send me a cigar, and I'll review it, and I'll give you my honest opinion on it. But my honest opinion on this one, I think I said this on one of my. I seem to remember doing the Jacob's Ladder and saying this might be my new favorite cigar, and I'm only in the first third. This cigar flavor profile is what I like. It's like I call it Cuban-esque, and that's the best way that I can describe it, because while there is the age-old debate of Cuban tobacco is overrated, it's overpriced, and I think they are, in most cases they are overrated, and they are overpriced. But when you get you a good Cuban-made cigar like that Talisman that I smoked today, they're great. Okay, are they better because they're from Cuba? No, but they're great, and they have a distinct musty, earthy, sweet, damp hay type, and if you're familiar with them, you know what I'm talking about, and this cigar has it. So I'm going to get into the second, third, and come back and tell you what I think about it from there. Stay tuned. All right. We are in the second, third, and just about to the halfway mark. Got a little uneven burn, but not bad at all. Taste and notes on this cigar are pretty much the same from the first third there, with that musty earth. There's a sweetness, so like a sweet damp hay, musty earth. It does bring on kind of like a slight nuttiness, and when I say nuttiness, it's just like the smell of roasted peanuts is what I associate the flavor note that I'm getting. It does, that sweetness is kind of developing into like a almost, I want to say caramel, brown sugary. It's like it's just a good sweetness. So I'm just going to say it's like a brown sugar, but not a very, very, like, it ain't like when you put brown sugar in your mouth or nothing like that. And maybe a little bit of leather now that it's kind of mellow, setting into itself. But it's very good. I just burped that. Pairing it with the Dr. Pepper cream soda mixture, whatever. It's very good to pair with cigars, just to sip on. I need to stop because I need to cut back on my soda consumption. But good cigar, burning real good, draws real good, get a lot of smoke. retroheld is still got a nice burn to it. It's probably more like a muted black pepper, not quite red pepper, but it's not as harsh as like a black pepper would be. Just very smooth cigar. And I tell you, for you guys that aren't into flavor notes and just like, tobacco, this is all tastes like tobacco, and that's all they look for. This has got a very, very, very nice aged tobacco flavor. I mean, it's just good. As a matter of fact, I would probably say, because I'm doing a cigar review and I got to associate the flavor notes I'm getting with something, because it's just how it's done and what we do makes it a little more interesting. But the tobacco flavor in this is just very good, very well aged, very well made, and I'm just very impressed with the cigar. I really like it. Matter of fact, it's going to be on my next box purchase. I think it's about $183 for a box of 20, so that puts it right at about $10, $9.45, $9.50. I don't even know what I paid for this. I just kind of grabbed it and it was in with an assortment, but I probably paid about $9 for it. At JR's, the price is a little better up there because they're like a big wholesaler up in Selma. But yeah, it's good, and I'm gonna keep smoking it, and I'm gonna come back in the final third and tell you what I really think about it. So stay tuned. All right. We're in the final third, probably about 5 minutes past that final band. And just at 48 minutes total, I still got another 10 minutes. And let me tell you something, if you really, really sat back and took your time on this cigar, it would probably go a good hour and 20 minutes, if not even longer. But I just tend to smoke on them faster. It's one of my faults, which is probably why I get those little uneven burns. But every cigar reviewer, not just cigar, maybe someone that's not just doing it on a YouTube channel, but people that keep track of their cigars, they always take notes. And then at the end of it, they move a cigar over into a special list, okay? And that special list is going to be, and I'll probably do it at the end of the year, it'll be my top 8 cigars or 10 cigars or 15 cigars or 25, whatever number you want to do. The top cigars that you or they have smoked that year. And this one's going into it. Okay, I don't know if it's going to stay there, but it's going to definitely go in. And that would make 2 by Southern Draw that are going to make it into that category. The other one being the Jacob's Ladder. I'm just very impressed with them. And the Rose of Sharon, is a cigar that's not typically in my wheelhouse. It's a Connecticut. It's got the Connecticut shade wrapper. It's a little light, but it was pretty intense for Connecticut shade wrapper. So it was light but bold at the same time. So it ain't gonna make my top list of the year, but it was a very good cigar. I was very surprised by it. Jacob's Ladder, very good, but this one here is just. Everybody's got their own little flavor characteristics. Some guys like them citrusy. Some guys like them very bold and peppery and, strong coffee notes. And I am partial to the musty earth and that sweet hay, grassy hay, Cuban-esque type taste. Just what I'm partial to. This one here really picks up in the final third. I'm starting to get the leather kind of takes over and it kind of leaves like a leathery taste in your mouth. Very good finish. It's not oily, but it's thick. It's not oily, but it's not spicy. It's almost creamy. I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss on that one, but it's just very enjoyable. The aged tobaccos in this thing are very good. That toasted nuttiness kind of comes in around the second third and kind of stays, and it's there. The black pepper picks up in the final third. I mean, you just get this nice plumes of like slightly creamy smoke. It's very good. I didn't get no coffee at all in that, and that's kind of a first for me. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm just saying even without those typical notes, there is a slight cocoa flavor that comes in, but that's probably more of that what I was tasting earlier, that caramel brown sugar mixed in now with that leather and that pepper coming back kind of takes on a cocoa, and the spice is muted. It's in the background, but there is a slight like a not cinnamon and just like a light baker spice, maybe more of a nutmeg, but very nutty cigar. But most of all, I would say aged tobacco flavors and musty, earthy, and damp hay. Okay, and those sound probably like, but in a cigar, for me anyway, that's just where it lands. And this is a very good cigar, and I recommend you go out and try it if you have not already. And if you have, let me know what you think about it. Let me know what your take on it was, and let's chop it up. Okay, so on the conversation earlier about cigar reviewers not trashing any cigars, man, if you got a cigar out there you want to send me, hit me up in the comment section or send me a message. I'll send you my address, and you send me a cigar, and I'll give you my God's honest opinion about it. So this has been the Southern Draw Firethorn in Robusto, 5.5 inches by 54 ring gauge, Ecuador Habano-Rosado double fermented wrapper. And you can taste it. Oh, you know what it reminded me of? If you've smoked the Last Call, this is very similar. If the Last Call was in a bigger ring gauge, this has a little bit more sweetness to it, but it's very, very similar to that. And that sweetness probably from that Mexican San Andreas binder, but very similar to the Last Call. So if you like the Last Call, you're gonna love this one. So it's going into my top list. We'll see how it turns out at the end of the year when I chop it all up and come out with my top 8. Everybody does top 10. I'll probably do a top 8. Or maybe a 13, some odd number like that. So, Cigar Sherpa Laird Mayhew reminding you to be polite to everybody that you meet, but always have a backup plan in case you got to shoot them in the face. And I'm out.